If everybody wants to be a star, then why do most people hate speaking in public? This should be their 15 minutes of fame. They should enjoy it. You should enjoy it. One of the reasons is perhaps the perceived one-sidedness of presenting. You talk, they listen, or fidget, or yawn, or heckle, or walk out, and it's all over far too quickly. Presenting is actually a conversation, not preaching from the mountaintop or a message in a bottle that you throw at your audience. And most people like to talk to their friends. So instead of just 2 or 3 friends, why not up your game a bit and have a conversation with 20 or 200? It's exactly the same thing. You've heard of feedback, the signals your audience of 1 or 1,000 sends back to you during your conversation with them. Sure, it's easier to recalibrate your communication with just one face and body to observe. So, when talking to a group, the secret is to encourage all possible forms of interaction and observation. Involve them. Ask them questions directly. Ask rhetorical questions and encourage them to ask questions themselves. Maintain eye contact. Observe movements, noise, yawning, sleeping, snoring, and other signs that indicate changing levels of engagement. All effective communication is about producing the desired effect. From information sharing and knowledge transfer to the more ambitious behavioral change. Therefore, you must constantly check that you're getting your message across. So perhaps now you're a little less scared at the idea of your conversation one-to-many. But what on earth are you going to say? First, define your overall communication objective and the key messages you want your audience to assimilate. These should follow naturally. Who are your audience? What do they know about your subject? What are they expecting from you? What do you want to tell them? Yogi Berra, an American baseball player and budding philosopher, once said, "If you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else." So where do you want to go with your audience? Do you want to take them on a road of discovery to your new product? Do you want to boost your division's sales performance? Do you want to reassure the market that you will hit your EBITDA targets? Once you've defined your objective, then define your 3 key messages which must help you to achieve that objective. And here, coherence is of the essence. And then you have to write the thing. But how? Prepare in order to be concise. Rehearse in order to be spontaneous. Sounds counterintuitive, don't you think? Ad-libbing and excessive self-confidence usually result in disaster. It's easy to ramble and go off message. One can give the audience just enough rope to hang oneself with. Don't think you can wing it just because words come easily to you. You need to say the right words, and these can only be achieved by scripting. Over the years, I've worked with some great presenters and followed them from conference to AGM to roadshow to TV show. I would see these same presenters give exactly the same presentations word for word, including their off-the-cuff, spontaneous remarks. And I hate to explode the myth, but usually the casual jokes are scripted too. And you should follow their example and do the same. So, script your speech and prepare, say, 120%, keeping some lines up your sleeve, learn them by heart, rehearse, and on the day, you will be able to stay focused on your audience. And this is how you will dazzle them. Churchill is an infinitely quotable savior of humanity. He said, "If you want me to speak for 2 minutes, it will take me 3 weeks of preparation. If you want me to speak for 30 minutes, it will take me a week to prepare." So if the extraordinary orator that was Winston Churchill needs all that time to prepare in order to be concise, then so do you. Slides or no slides, that is the question. An oversimplistic TED Talk with just you and your clip-on mic on stage, or a content-heavy slideshow that's really a financial report or an engineering manual cut and pasted into PowerPoint, and you were thinking that they could always double up as handouts. Huh? No, please, ideally, neither of these extremes. If you have slides, they must show what we call horizontal and vertical logic. Vertical logic means that your action titles summarize slide content with one message per slide. Horizontal logic means that the slide titles, lined up in order, tell your story and therefore help you achieve your overall communication objective. And please, not just bullet points. Try illustrations, graphs, photos, metaphors, memorable images, please. Even cats, because everybody likes cats, but only if cats reinforce your message. So now you have your content, but you know, delivery is more important than content. All of that time spent preparing and poor use of voice and inappropriate body language can destroy all of your good work. Non-verbal communication will reinforce or reduce your impact. Coherent or congruent body language, wording and messaging are fundamental key success factors to your presentation. If Droopy says, "I'm so happy," with no energy in his voice and a downturned mouth, then nobody will believe him. If you look or sound unconvinced of your message, the audience won't believe you either. It's like lying. The incoherencies in your story end up catching you out. Beware the dishonest. A few quick delivery tips. Vary your voice, volume, pitch, silence. Maintain eye contact at all times, but don't scan the audience. Pick out individuals to talk to and keep your body language open and positive. You can physically mark your key messages with flagging or enumeration, firstly, secondly, thirdly. Avoid parasitic gestures like playing with your hair or scratching your nose, because people always get distracted by these involuntary behaviors and wonder why you're doing them. Start strong. Attention span is an hourglass. The sand runs out fast. Think of the pop rock folk song model from the 60s to the present day, with the notable exception of Bohemian Rhapsody, perhaps. 3 minutes, and you've told the story with your catchy lyrics, repeated your chorus several times, embedded your melodic hook into your audience's brains. In the same way, you need to grab their attention with a powerful intro and repeat your key messages until fade out. You're a performer, a 3-minute hero, or a 10-minute hero. Don't forget it. People listen to and remember stories, not facts and figures. So pick out people you know in the audience, once again, and tell them stories. Use film, book, or play scenarios. The hero narrative, against all odds, the boy meets girl for a merger, a decision at a crossroads, a breakthrough with a new product. Speak in metaphors, nature, war, sport, politics, art, music, even gastronomy. That's if you're French. And craft your speech with tension resolution like in TV series. Think of punchlines, personal anecdotes, and you can even tell jokes if you really insist. Speaking is like teaching. It's a universally positive act, sharing knowledge, weaving new strands into one's existing framework, building on what they already know. Do you remember Benjamin Franklin? Tell me and I will forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn. So repeat key messages. Why not express them in sound bites? You know, those concise, memorable phrases like advertising slogans. Yes, we can. I have a dream, brothers and sisters. And yes, why not? Make America great again. And be yourself. Authenticity is a powerful vector. Use humor if you can, especially your own humor. But be aware of cultural differences and delicate subjects. Common sense. So now you've wowed them. They've laughed, maybe even cried, and they've heard your key messages. And some of those have maybe even stuck. And now you have to finish strong. Do you remember the image of the hourglass? How many times have you heard just thank you as a conclusion to a presentation. Think SWAY. It's an acronym. Sum up, wise words, call to action, emotion, not just thank you and good night. Please, I'll come back to this in a moment. And don't be afraid of questions, as Q&A is a fundamental part of your presentation conversation with your audience. A 3D or a 4D Q&A, lots of Ds. You have to field a difficult question, you can deal with it, you can define it, you can deflect it, you can defer it to someone else, you can disarm it, or you can decline to answer with reasons. Whatever you do, out of respect for your audience, you must first recognize the question and then use it to return to your key messages. At a press conference, the US Secretary of State Henry Kissinger famously said to the cohort of journalists present, "Does anyone have any questions for my answers?" And many politicians use this technique. Acknowledge the question, don't answer yes or no, but transform the question into a question they would like to answer, and then answer it. This is how they always stay on message. And you're thinking, a tad manipulative, huh? Maybe you're right. So what would dear Andrew say to sum up presenting? Would he use wise words? Would he make a call to action? Would he tell you one last emotional story? Or just a simple summary? Just a simple summary. So your presentation is a well-prepared conversation. You engage with your audience, built on clear objectives and strong messages. It's delivered with passion and authenticity. You start and finish memorably. You stay positive and you enjoy your 15 minutes of fame. Because everybody wants to be a star.